If you could see the world through my eyes, vibrant purple sunrise, shards of broken dreams come raining down.
Mark here, Life and Fitness Files. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with content. Today, we're going to be talking about the use of bands to focus on our biceps. Bands are a great way to help us build strength and muscle through the full range of motion with different exercises. Today, with our biceps, we want to talk about going through that full range of motion so we have a good stretch with our bicep and then a good contraction, being able to squeeze that muscle and have tension throughout that range of motion, throughout that eccentric. Bands give us that opportunity, which is why I'm focusing on different videos using bands for different exercises, because they're versatile and they're portable and give you lots of opportunity to try different ranges of motion with lots of different exercises for different muscle groups. So today, bands focusing on our biceps. Let's jump in. So here, I'm going to be using bands in a low anchor point using my wall anchors. You can check out my other video on setting up wall anchors. Great use of space and gives you lots of opportunities for different exercises. So my lowest wall anchor to help give me the range of motion and the tension that I need to work biceps. Now, a few points to consider when using bands for any exercise, but if you are using bands and they don't have those handles on them and you're holding the bands themselves, you can change the tension by where you hold the bands. Obviously, the loops in the bands are going to give you the most easy opportunity to grasp the bands, but you can also use the band in a single fashion, and if you hold closer to the anchor point, you're going to increase the tension if that's something that you want to do. So you can play around with tensions with different, light, medium, heavy bands to give you the opportunity to find the right tension for the exercise and range of motion that you are doing. So here, I'm using this light band, and I'm going to show you how you can use this for bicep work. By having this low anchor point, when I'm in this position here, I am in a stretched position with my bicep. So I want to make sure that I go through this. The bands give us a great opportunity to have tension all the way down to this position. If you don't have tension all the way down into that position, you may want to increase the tension or where you're holding this, or increase the band tension itself. So you can find what's comfortable in the right position. I'm going to move over here so you can see. So when I come up, I want to make sure I go into the full range of motion, squeeze that bicep, full range of motion in slow eccentric. Full range of motion, squeeze bicep, slow eccentric, and it's giving me tension all the way down into that stretched position. Now, pretty straightforward bicep curls. There's lots of variations, but essentially you want to focus on the mind-muscle connection and squeezing that bicep. A couple things to consider is the direction that you face your palms or thumbs, if that's easier to think of, will change a little bit of that focus. If you turn your palms in, so you have more of kind of that hammer hold on traditional dumbbell, that's going to work a little bit more of your brachialis. So you're going to work a little bit more of that outside of your bicep and your brachialis by having more of a hammer hold, if you will. And you can do that with bands. So here, I'm having that hammer hold. going to work a little bit more of that outside bicep and the brachialis. It's still going to work some of that inner bicep head, but a little bit more of that outside and brachialis. So this is one variation. Then if you have your palms out and up, you're going to work more of that inner bicep, working on the peak of that bicep. Out. Full range of motion, slow eccentric. Up, squeeze, slow back down, eccentric. So how you angle your arms makes a difference on where you want to focus that tension. One other variation, and I showed this in my tricep video, there are different handles and padded ones that you can use to hook onto the bands. I use a wooden dowel, partially because I already had it. You want to make sure that the dowel is strong enough that it's not going to bend under tension, but I slip that dowel through a banded, or it could be a single band here, and then it gives me a handle that I can work on my bicep curls without having to hold the band itself. I can work through that full range of motion. I can also spread my hands out a little bit, keeping that tension on the middle of the dowel and the bar, but keeping my hands at a more neutral angle with my elbows. So another variation that you can do and use, and like I said, there are different handles and bars that you can get that would hook to bands if that's something that is something you'd like to use. Otherwise, dowels work great. So biggest thing with any band exercise, you want to make sure that you have the right tension and that you can go through that full range of motion. If the tension is too high or too hard, you are not going to be able to go through the full range of motion. If you get halfway through that concentric and you can't go all the way, you might want to lighten up. Now, if you get up to that full range of motion and you are finding that that's really easy, you might want to increase the tension. As I mentioned before, you have the bands I use, there's a light, medium, and heavy. You could change the band. You can also change, if you stand farther away from the anchor point, that's going to increase tension, but be careful because it might change the angle and the range of motion, so something to watch. But you can also hold lower to the anchor point to give you more tension. So something you can play around with, and then you can find the right tension for the exercise that you are doing. Squeeze, slow eccentric, exercise 8 to 12 reps, 3 to 4 sets. You're going to definitely feel that burn in your arms. You can use the dowel as a handle. Work on the different band tensions with the bands themselves, how you're holding the band. You can use a single band. You can also do one arm unilateral exercises to focus on one at a time. This may also help with the angle depending on where your anchors are at to give you a good range of motion and time under tension. Bands are great. They give us that tension all the way through that eccentric if we have them set up correctly in the right angle. And we also get a good squeeze here. We can work on different tensions. We don't have to have a whole bunch of different dumbbells to make good use of our space and to really hit different muscles with good focused resistance. Here you have good tension all the way through the stretch of that muscle, and you have good range of motion, giving you lots of options. I love bands. Something to highly consider if you don't have them If you do have them, those are a few ideas. Making sure also palms up, really gonna work the inner part of that bicep, and your palms more in a hammer grip, or you can even go a little bit farther over. If you have your hands palm down, you're really gonna work that brachialis a lot more in the outer part of that bicep. Hammer is gonna work a little bit more of that brachialis and that outer part of the bicep, just a little bit more, little less on the inner bicep. So just a few ideas. Bands give you a great workout and give you lots of opportunities to try different things and can work all of your different muscles, which I'm going to be going over in different videos. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with content. Leave some comments or questions below so I can help you if there's anything that comes up, anything else that you want to see in the future. Here's to life and fitness. Peace out.